Hello everyone, I'm Jess and today I'm excited to introduce you to another incredible designer who is featured in our Bag Makers Club. Today you'll meet Natalie of Sew Hungry Hippie and we'll chat about her design process, inspiration, and share a few tips for creating her beautiful patterns. Welcome to the Sallie Tomato YouTube channel. If you love bag making and want to connect with talented designers, this is a video that you don't want to miss. You will also learn some useful bag making tips and tricks. Be sure to tap the notification and subscribe button so you never miss an interview or bag sewing tips. Thank you, Natalie, for being here. I'm so excited to chat with you and get to know you better. I know that we've met a few times at shows, but it always seems to be in passing. So being able to chat with you today is just really exciting. And so why don't we get started by you sharing a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, first of all, Jess. Thank you so much. I started sewing in 2010 because we were stationed overseas in the military. And I think I just was getting sort of depressed because I couldn't work. I was a nurse at the time and I couldn't work over there. So I started sewing and I don't know if addicted is the right word, but it just made me so happy. So I just became addicted to sewing every single day. And here we are.
Oh, I love that. Sewing is such a therapy for so many people, and it's
Yes.
such a great way as a creative outlet. And
Yes, totally.
oh, I'm
And I
so
love
glad that you
how,
found it.
yeah. And when you sew something, isn't it awesome how it just stays finished? It's not like
True.
laundry,
Yes. Yeah, very satisfying.
right? Yeah.
And the bags are functional too, so then you get to use them after, and it's just such a satisfying hobby. No wonder
Yes.
you got
Yeah.
addicted.
You're right, right? Yeah.
So I would like to hear a little bit about the name behind Sew Hungry Hippie. What was the inspiration behind your business name?
It's funny because I used to be in the Army. My husband was in the Air Force, and I got out before him. So he started teasing me that I was a hungry hippie because I eat all the time, kind of on the go. I'm just not
Sure.
one to want to sit down for some elaborate meal. And so at the time, I was making jewelry and selling it just, to friends and on Etsy and that kind of thing. And he's like, "Oh, you should name your business Hungry Hippie." And so I did. And then when I transitioned into the sewing stuff, I thought, well, I sound like a foodie. So let me just throw sew, SCW, in the front and maybe people will get it. I probably should have done something else like sewing hippie or something, but I'm too lazy. Here we
Oh,
are.
it's memorable and meaningful to you, so I
Yeah,
think it
that's right.
works. Do you find that your military background comes into your design process or how you run your business at all?
I think I think it's just part of my life in general. Yeah, that's a hard question to answer, but I think it helps keep me disciplined and focused and always pushing the company forward, hopefully. I don't often worry about if I'm a total expert at something. I just get in there and do it and try to figure it out on the fly. Sort of what we call in the military OJT, on the job training. I just apply that to everything. And I think it's really freeing, especially when I share that with people who come into the store. You don't have to be perfect to get a bag done and feel good about it. So maybe that's what has creeped into my daily life.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for your service. I think that's amazing what you've done and really appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Why don't we talk about your pattern, the Betty Bow bag that we featured in Bag Makers Club? I think this is such a great pattern for all ages and all kinds of events, especially coming into wedding season. So why don't you share what inspired the design and if you have any tips or techniques for sewists who are working on the pattern?
Sure. The Betty Bow bag is very versatile. You can make two different sizes, and some people have added a strap to it if they wanted a shoulder strap. but it's based on a simple design. And then that bow, just you can make it out of any material, whether it's like unicorn vinyl or fabric or canvas or whatever you want. And it just adds a little pop. And I have actually seen some people send in photos where they were at weddings with that bag and they were carrying it like a clutch because your hand can slide right behind that bow. But I made it so that everybody, even if you're a total beginner, you can do this bag.
Oh, I love that. And it's just a canvas, for adding straps or customizing it with prints or solids. I think
Right.
it's so cute. And I can't wait to see everybody's versions.
I know. I
So,
can't wait. It'll be so fun.
if you weren't designing bags, what do you think you would be doing for a career instead?
Well, I would either still be working in the hospital as a nurse or I would be an interior designer for houses. I am addicted
Ooh.
to HGTV, like house renovations and stuff. I love that.
Yes.
I did it with my husband's first house. He actually went on a deployment, and when he came back, it was totally repainted and revamped inside. And
Oh
good
my
thing he
goodness.
loved it
Yeah. That's a
because I never did
surprise.
it. Yeah, that's what I would be doing if not this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I love interior design too. I can totally relate. We don't have cable TV, so I don't watch HGTV. So whenever we travel and HGTV is on the TV
Yes.
constantly, and I'm catching up on all the shows.
Right?
Um,
It's so fun.
I actually like to follow a lot of interior designers, architectural inspiration for bags too, and different
Oh, sure.
tile work and for appliques. And so
Right.
that's a lot
Yes.
of fun. So we all have our favorite tips for sewing, and I'm curious, is there one sewing hack or tip that's your favorite that you love to share?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I think for me, it is using that nylon mallet because as bag makers, we often have a lot of layers to sew through. And what I find, which I didn't believe it at first, so I had to do it. But if I hammer down my seams with, vinyl, foam, maybe SF 101, and then fabric, it's a bunch of layers to get through. If I hammer that down first and then put it in my sewing machine, it's so much easier to sew. And I tell people all the time, just get that little mallet because it makes a huge difference. At first, I was using my husband's like rubber mallet. You know how they're colored? They're like black or orange or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was
Hmm.
leaving little crescent moons on my vinyl. So that's when I'm like, okay, I need to get that nylon one. And it doesn't leave any markings. And I don't have to hit it super hard or anything because I just do it on my sewing desk and it's fine. It's just that little push to flatten those layers some more.
So do you recommend just going to the hardware store and getting one, or do you have one on your website and in your store?
Yeah, I do have one on my website. I do bring it in. You could get it too, though, honestly.
Yeah, I think I need to do that more often because I've heard of that tip and I don't use it enough because I just sew right through the thickness. And
Yeah,
I think taking the time to pound the seams to flatten it is a really good tip.
yeah. It surprisingly makes it surprisingly easier. What do you sew on? What kind of machine?
I have a Burnett straight stitch, the
Oh,
08.
and that
Hmm.
handles the layers.
It does. Like I've always sewn on a straight stitch. I've used Baby Lock, Brother, and it does phenomenal. What machine do you have?
Right now, the Juki 2000, just that entry level straight stitch, I use it all the time because I don't have to worry about it getting through the layers. So I'm always listening for more models that are, you know, handling well with layers.
So when it comes to inspiration, where do you get your inspiration from, or what is something that typically inspires you for your bags?
I love to travel, and every time I travel, I come back feeling refreshed, and anything can spur my inspiration or interest, such as I'm sure this has happened to you with like tiling on the walls or floors. I think, oh, that would be a cool bag.
Yes.
Or I'll see some kind of really strange bag out in the wild, and I think, how could I adapt that to design a pattern that is similar, but maybe not, a direct copy or anything. So I would say travel. And I would say whenever I get my hands on like a big fashion magazine, I don't buy them often anymore. I used to get Vogue, in the mail all the time. But if I flip through there, often I will tear out inspiration and put it on my bulletin board and then maybe do a mishmash and design a
Oh,
bag
cool.
that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you're like me too, where there's never a shortage of ideas. It's the
Oh
time
my
that,
gosh. So many ideas. Not enough time.
yes, I have um, idea boards of different pockets and straps, and then I like to do the mashups too. But yeah, there's just so many ideas. It's hard to get to all of them.
It is, yes. Yeah, I thought about doing a binder with, pages in there, like the old school scrapbook type thing, but I haven't gotten to that either.
Understandable.
Right.
But in our free time.
Right.
So I guess speaking of free time, what do you like to do when you're not sewing? Do you have any other hobbies? Or I know you said you like to travel.
Yes, I do. I like to crochet, which I'd only picked up a few years ago. So that can be relaxing. Of course, I'll throw on a show and kind of crochet with that. I love reading. I really get lost in books, and I love that when just, 3 hours goes by and I don't even realize it. So I love to read. I always have too. I do like to get outside in nature. Now it's more walking or hiking, I guess you would say, than anything else. Really like nature. Recently, my sister and I joke because we love seeing all the different birds. Like Wisconsin is amazing with all the flora and fauna. And you don't think of that, I think, as a person outside of Wisconsin unless you live here. But there is so much right outside our house. We have cranes all the time that come in, and I could just sit there and stare at them. They're just so amazing. And then on Memorial Day, can you believe this? 3 eagles were flying in a cornfield just right next to us and landed. I took pictures. I couldn't believe it.
Oh,
White bald eagles.
that just gives me chills. Like,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah,
I couldn't believe it. I texted my family right away. Can you believe this?
I would love to see that picture. Oh,
Okay,
that's so cool.
yeah. So yeah, I would say that stuff.
Yeah, we love nature too and getting out and hiking. In Wisconsin, there are more waterfalls than I knew that we had, and our state parks are just beautiful. Yeah,
Yes.
walking, it's so nice to, reconnect with nature and just be out in the sun and so
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah, it calms your nervous system. And a lot of times I find if I have a problem that I'm trying to solve, it's better if I walk.
Hmm.
I figure it out faster than trying to, you know, sit there and concentrate.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. That reminds me of something that my grandma said to me too. I mean, if you're working on a sewing project and you're getting frustrated, sometimes all you have to do is just stop, go for a walk, take a break, and come back, and you'll feel so
Such
much
good
better.
advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of enduring through, sometimes you just need to let yourself have a little break.
That's right. Yep. That's right. Don't always push through it. I've regretted that before.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll get burnt out that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, as we wrap up, I would love to know if there's one thing that you would recommend for a beginner bag maker. Any advice getting started out to set them up for success?
I would say my few pieces of advice are give yourself space and time. It's not going to be perfect right out of the gate, and that is expected and totally fine. Just keep doing it. You'll always get better at something. And then, secondly, I think a good quality sewing machine is just absolutely key. There's so many out there that are just not worth a single dollar to me. And you want to give yourself the right tool so that you're set up for success. Just like, I compare it to my husband going out and buying his power tools. Well, it's no different for us. We don't want to buy a $10 power tool when it's not going to work. It's not going to do the job. So I would say research it, think about it a little bit, and get yourself a really good machine you can use for years. And the other thing is probably needles, which I didn't pay much attention to in my first 5 to 10 years of sewing. I just used whatever. But I have noticed it does make a really big difference that you use the right needle for the material that you're sewing. And I'm sure you know that too.
Oh, for sure. And I've seen so many sewists, I mean, they're excited to get started and then they're on a cheap machine and get frustrated and the project doesn't turn out how they want and they can't sew through the thickness. And so I think that is critical advice for sure. And yeah, certainly the needle makes all the difference with the different types of fabrics that we're working with. And yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's so funny because when I started sewing, I just opened my machine and started sewing, and I remember running out of bobbin thread. I had to Google where the bobbin was. I didn't know what that meant.
You were so excited to get started.
Yeah, I just wanted to go.
Yeah.
What do you mean I have to thread a bobbin?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I think just get in there and do it and set yourself up for success.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. That's great advice. So I know you're very, very active online. Could you share with everybody watching where they can connect with you and explore the rest of your pattern line?
Sure. I'm at sewhungryhippie.com. I know that's a long URL. That's where I'm at. I post a lot of tutorials on there, and there's always links to any videos if you need any help with that. And all my patterns are in there. We have a lot of PDFs and then some printed patterns because I like a printed pattern. Do you like a printed pattern?
Yes. I always need
do
to have
too.
it printed. I can write notes on it.
Right. Jot the notes down, and then I know I have it. A lot of times when I buy PDFs, I forget I have them because they're just on my computer.
True. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've double bought before. Oops. But anywho, yeah, that's where I'm at. Sew Hungry Hippie, or on Instagram, Sew Hungry Hippie.
Well, definitely go and check out Sew Hungry Hippie online. Thank you so much, Natalie, for sharing your journey, your awesome tips, and it was such a pleasure to chat with you. So thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's interview. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Natalie of Sew Hungry Hippie and hearing about her design journey. We hope that you're inspired to make something from her collection. You can find her patterns at sewhungryhippie.com. And don't forget to check out our Bag Makers Club, where we create kits every single month with supplies to create a project from a featured designer. We feature a different designer every month, so it's a fun way to try new patterns and techniques. We'd love to see your projects made with Bag Makers Club. Please share your photos with us by using the hashtag BagMakersClub and hashtag SallieTomato on social media so we can celebrate your creativity. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. You won't want to miss out on any future interviews with the amazing designers ahead. I'll see you next time.